The Pope is dead.
From Focus Features comes the electrifying new film, Conclave.
We're about to choose the most famous man in the world.
Based on the international best-selling thriller.
The Pope discovered something before he died.
Ralph Fiennes, Stanley Tucci,
Ambition becomes corruption.
John Lithgow, and Isabella Rossellini.
We sisters have eyes and ears.
Top critics are raving. Conclave is hands down the best picture of the year.
I had to find the truth.
Conclave, rated PG. Parental guidance suggested. Only in theaters this Friday.
Previously on The Chosen People.
I've traveled far to bring you this news. I fear they may be hunting me yet. It's your nephew Lot. They've taken him.
This time, Abram was determined to answer the call.
318 against a whole eastern army, led by a king who has conquered many nations.
The Amorites have agreed to join us as well. We won't be alone. And you know that my God will be with me.
Abram, his 318 men, and the combined forces of the Amorites set out and quickly found the trail of King Chedorlaomer and his four-king alliance. They had traveled hundreds of miles from where they started, Abram's God sustaining them and granting them victory after victory. And it was there that Abram and his men made their last stand. With face caked in blood and sand, Abram screamed with passion, dicing the enemy one by one. Each was a barrier to his nephew.
Abram, you came! You came for us! Of course I did.
Together, Abram and Lot set about aiding the captured women and other prisoners. They also discovered that the gold and silver Lot lost in the abduction was still there, along with riches from other kingdoms the four-king alliance had plundered.
What's more, I will bless those who bless you. I will curse anyone who treats you with contempt, and all the peoples of earth will be blessed through you.
Amid the smoke of battle and the spoils of war, king named Melchizedek steps forth, a mystery that challenges our understanding of the divine. Shalom, my friends, from here in the Holy Land. I'm Yael Eckstein with the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews, and welcome to The Chosen People. Every day we'll hear a dramatic story inspired by the Bible, stories filled with timeless lessons on faith, love, and the meaning of life. And in Israel's story, we find this truth, that we are all chosen for something great. If this podcast has blessed you so far, we would love it if you left a review. We want to hear how these stories are impacting lives. And if you're curious about how the fellowship is uniting Christians and Jews for a common purpose and bringing biblical prophecy to fruition, you can visit us at ifcj.org. Now, let's begin. As ancient feuds rage, a figure emerges, shrouded in mystery and reverence, Melchizedek, the king of Salem, the priest of the Most High God. Now, I think we all have to ask the same question. Who is this enigmatic figure who bears blessings for the Father of nations? And what is it about this encounter that has captured the imaginations and hearts of countless generations? As we journey into this tale inspired by Genesis 14:17-24, consider these other questions. Who was Melchizedek? What significance does his blessing hold for Abram and for us? And in the grand scheme and great drama of the story of God's chosen people, what role does this mysterious king and priest play?
The Pope is dead.
From Focus Features comes the electrifying new film, Conclave.
We're about to choose the most famous man in the world.
Based on the international best-selling thriller.
The Pope discovered something before he died.
Ralph Fiennes, Stanley Tucci,
Ambition becomes corruption.
John Lithgow, and Isabella Rossellini.
We sisters have eyes and ears.
Top critics are raving. Conclave is hands down the best picture of the year.
I had to find the truth.
Conclave, rated PG. Parental guidance suggested. Only in theaters this Friday.
With Cybersecurity Awareness Month coming to a close, LifeLock wants to remind you to update your software. Software updates are used to patch up security issues and bugs that identity thieves can exploit to gain access to personal information. Regularly updating your software is just one more easy step to help protect your personal information. But for comprehensive identity theft protection, LifeLock can help give you real peace of mind. Only LifeLock alerts you to more uses of your personal information and fixes identity theft issues that arise, guaranteed. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points per second and detects and alerts you to a wide range of threats, well beyond what you can see on your own. If your identity is stolen, your dedicated U.S.-based restoration specialist will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Plus, you're backed by the LifeLock $1 Million Protection Package with up to $3 million in coverage. Start protecting your identity today with a 30-day free trial at LifeLock.com/iHeart. That's LifeLock.com/iHeart. Terms apply.
Attention parents and grandparents. Are you searching for the perfect gift for your kids this holiday season? Give the gift of adventure that will last all year long. A Guardian bike. The easiest, safest, and quickest bikes for kids to learn on. Kids are learning to ride in just one day. No training wheels needed. What makes Guardian bikes special? They're the easiest to ride thanks to thoughtful engineering, lightweight frames, and kid-friendly components. Kids love how fun and easy they are to ride, and parents appreciate the safety features, like the patented braking system that prevents head-over-handlebar accidents. Guardian bikes are the only kids' bikes designed and assembled in a USA factory, ensuring top-notch quality and durability. They're built to last and make perfect hand-me-downs. Join the hundreds of thousands of happy families by getting a Guardian bike today. Their holiday season sales have begun, offering the biggest deal of the year. Save up to 25% on bikes. No code needed. Plus, get free shipping and a free bike lock and pump with your first purchase after signing up for their newsletter. Visit GuardianBikes.com to take advantage of these deals and secure your holiday season gifts today. Happy riding!
Abram frowned at the figures on the hill in the distance. His force had nearly doubled since the final victory at Hobach, but they were now crippled to a crawling pace, with the addition of non-fighting men, servants, women, and even a few children. They were also laden with the possessions of the cities of the plains, now theirs. The wealth they traveled with was staggering, making them an easy target for would-be enemies or opportunists. A lone figure broke from the amassing group on the hill and headed right for Abram's camp. A messenger.
Gather my commanders, Mamre and his brothers Eshcol and Aner, and have them meet me in the general's tent. Tell them we're about to have a word from these strangers.
Yes, Master Abram.
Abram went through the crowded camp without looking back, trusting his men to perform their duties. He knew the messenger would be intercepted at this camp's perimeter and brought directly to him.
Uncle, I've heard the news. Who is that over the ridge? And what do they want?
They've sent an emissary, so we will soon learn what they want.
And should it be an attack?
Lot was not the same man since the abduction. Abram did not know all of the horrors he faced. Although Lot's body had regained strength, a lingering weariness torched behind his eyes, haunting him.
Why don't you join me in the general's tent and hear firsthand? I could use another man with your understanding of business to treat our mysterious visitor.
Affection drove Abram to include his nephew. He could read the validation in Lot's eyes at the gesture of being included. Abram pulled back the entrance to his general's tent and found his commanders waiting. Eshcol, Anna, and Mamre stood at attention and addressed Abram.
And so it seems our notoriety has caught up with us.
Yes. It was only a matter of time before the word spread to the other nations of our conquest.
Yes, but the question is whether these are friends or foes. Did we offend the allies of King Chedorlaomer? Or have the liberated nations come to thank us? Abram, what do you anticipate?
Abram didn't want to encourage their speculation.
It's useless to speculate. Keep your minds sharp. The messenger will be here momentarily. I suggest we listen to what he has to say and save our strategizing for when we know more.
As if summoned by Abram's words, 2 of Abram's trained men entered the tent and announced the messenger's arrival. Eliezer, Abram's trusted servant, followed not a moment later, flanked by a shrew-looking man.
General, commanders, introducing the emissary of King Bera, the king of Sodom.
Thank you, Eleazar. Emissary, you may speak.
General, commanders, I commend your victories over our enemies. We are profoundly grateful on behalf of King Bera and the people of Sodom. His Highness, King Bera, has traveled far to meet with you and express his gratitude.
Ponderous. Indeed. It is a great honor that you would travel all this way, but I find it curious that you wouldn't simply wait for us to pass through your region. Your men would have learned that Abram's nephew Lot was among those captured. Word of his disappearance would have reached your ears, so why come here, I wonder?
Abram nodded at Mamre's words. He commended his friend's caution with the king's man. Just because they had gone to war with the cities of the plain's enemies, it did not make them allies. And though Sodom had become Lot's home, Abram had heard that the people were wicked and their politicians slippery. He did not wish to become entangled in one of their twisted webs.
General, your commander is astute. You're right. We did learn that Lot was among the abducted people, and that it was the reason you pursued. We, of course, were concerned for our neighbor, but we were in no position to pursue ourselves. Our great city is still in shambles, and it will be some time until it is restored fully, if ever. And we suffered heavy losses among our fighting men and the city's watch.
Yes, but here you are now when we are only a day's walk from our home of Hebron. Another interpretation of your arrival could be you were eager to see if we were returning home or going to Sodom.
And it is no secret that we carry a vast fortune. So, speak plainly. Are you here to lay claim to it?
Again, General, your commanders do you credit. I see that you are the full measure of the man you have been rumored to be. You have achieved much in a short amount of time here in Canaan. I assure you, though, my king only wishes to meet you.
Your words flatter me, but you can understand why we are cautious?
Uncle, you cannot mean to reject an audience with a king. You would make it impossible for me to return to my lands.
Lot, I thought you would have learned to be cautious yourself by now. Enough. Lot is right. And if we are to preserve his new home, we cannot afford to slight King Bera. Emissary, we will not go into this meeting blind. You will tell us your numbers, and we will meet in a place of our choosing, so you cannot lay a trap and—
Abram, I've just received word that another visitor is at the perimeter. He wishes to have an audience with you as well. It's that strange general who calls himself a king. He's unaccompanied. No emissary, no guard, just him.
The Pope is dead.
From Focus Features comes the electrifying new film, Conclave.
We're about to choose the most famous man in the world.
Based on the international best-selling thriller.
The Pope discovered something before he died.
Ralph Fiennes, Stanley Tucci.
Ambition becomes corruption.
John Lithgow and Isabella Rossellini.
We sisters have eyes and ears.
Top critics are raving. Conclave is hands down the best picture of the year.
I had to find the truth.
Conclave, rated PG. Parental guidance suggested. Only in theaters this Friday.
Attention parents and grandparents. Are you searching for the perfect gift for your kids this holiday season? Give the gift of adventure that will last all year long. A Guardian bike, the easiest, safest, and quickest bikes for kids to learn on. Kids are learning to ride in just one day. No training wheels needed. What sets Guardian bikes apart? Designed especially for stability, they're low to the ground with a wide wheelbase and ultra-lightweight frames, offering superior control and balance. This design gives young riders the ability to learn in just one day without tears or frustration. Guardian bikes are the only kids' bikes designed and assembled in a USA factory, ensuring top-notch quality and durability. They were also featured on Shark Tank and are the New York Times Wirecutter Top Kids Bike Pick for 2024. Join the hundreds of thousands of happy families by getting a Guardian bike today. Their holiday season sales have begun, offering the biggest deal of the year. Save up to 25% on bikes. No code needed. Plus, get free shipping and a free bike lock and pump with your first purchase after signing up for their newsletter. Visit GuardianBikes.com to take advantage of these deals and secure your holiday season gifts today. Happy riding!
Wow. What is this place? welcome to Cloud 9.
How exactly did I get here?
You're a Toyota Crown driver. And only Crown drivers ever reach this level of pure bliss. The refined but elegant design makes you sit up a little straighter. It gives you a rush of confidence as soon as you're behind the wheel and a feeling of all eyes on you. That's how the Crown transports you here. It's pretty awesome, right?
The captivating Toyota Crown family. Toyota, let's go places.
After learning more about their host, Abram sent King Bearer's messenger away with instructions on where and when to meet the following day. He then turned his attention to learn more about this unexpected king.
Tell me more about this visitor at the perimeter. Did you learn his name?
He calls himself Melchizedek, King of Salem.
Something unlocked in the corridors of Abram's mind. Suddenly, he felt the presence of another, his God. The word righteous fell upon his mind like a gentle rain. Righteous. He did not know how he knew the meaning of this mysterious man's name, but he knew with certainty it was righteous.
And what of his people? Which clan holds the city? And what do we know of them?
The Jebusites. They've held the city a long time, but we've never had a conflict with them. I've never heard of a king by that name, though. He must have just recently risen to power. I'm surprised we've never learned of this Melchizedek. Salem is not so far from us.
I am surprised as well. And to come out alone to meet us, that is far stranger.
Is it safe to treat with this king?
Well, he hails us alone. I suppose we should see what he has to say. It's the only way to learn whether he lives up to his name.
How do you mean?
He is the King of Salem, the city of peace.
Abram, what say you? Should we send for him to meet us?
Yes. Let's see what this King Melchizedek has to say.
Moments later, Abram's men brought King Melchizedek before them. He was a nondescript-looking man, but his appearance and attire were noteworthy. Most surprising, he was barefoot. A linen turban with a gold plate about his brow sat upon his head. There seemed to be an inscription, but Abram couldn't determine what it said. He wore a dark blue woven robe over a white tunic. A strange, colorful garment was over the top of both, fastened at his waist and stretching the length of his chest and over his shoulders. The embellishments on both symbolized something, but Abram wasn't sure what. The king did not come empty-handed. He smiled at the 4 men and Abram's trained men who escorted him inside the tent. In one hand was a wrapped bundle, and in the other was a clay pitcher.
King Melchizedek, you honor us with your visit. Tell us, what have you come to say?
I have much to say, Abram the Hebrew. But first, you are my guests here in the valley of Shiva, and on the doorstep of my city. I would first be sure that you have had bread and wine, as a mark of hospitality, and a token of my friendship.
The king then gestured for the puzzled men to join him at the table beside the receiving area of the general's tent. He then began to break the bread and pour the wine into the cups at hand. Abram found it especially strange that this king was serving them, especially one whose name meant righteous. He did not call for an attendant and waved one away when they sprang forward to assist. When the table was prepared, Melchizedek again motioned for the men to sit at the seats he had prepared.
Come, let us eat and drink together.
Who are you? What kind of king are you that you would serve us yourself?
I am a king, yes, but I am also a high priest.
A priest of what god?
El Elyon, the one and only true God there is, the one who created both the heavens and the earth. He has many names, but he is one God. The God Most High is what I call him before you now. This is the God of Abraham, the God who has given him favor in his land. He is the God who blesses his friends and curses his enemies. This is the God who has granted you your victories and destroyed your enemies before you. It is to this God that I have devoted my entire life, and the same God to which Abram has devoted his."
The men on either side of Abram were speechless. The assuredness with which the man spoke was unlike anything they had experienced. He spoke with authority. Abram had not considered that others knew his God. He had certainly seen his God do incredible things and was sure enough in his own faith because of it, but now encountering another who had the same faith, perhaps even a greater one, was truly remarkable. Abram was in awe.
High Priest, what would you say to us?
"I would bless you, Abram, before these witnesses, if you would receive it."
"You would bless me?"
"Yes, on behalf of our God, for it is in his power and authority that anything at all comes to pass. Will you receive it?"
"I would. You honor me greatly."
Melchizedek then stood, gently placing his hands on Abram's shoulders, closed his eyes, and began his blessing.
"Blessed be Abram, by God Most High, Creator of heaven and earth. In him, you and your great nation will have a protector and provider. And blessed be God Most High, who has delivered your enemies into your hand. He is forever your defender and advocate. We praise his holy name and give him all the glory and gratitude for everything we have."
Abram was struck to the core by the high priest's words. They rang of truth and promise. So moved by the words and with an overwhelming gratitude for his God, he racked his mind for a way to respond. His God had granted him victory after victory, and he had expressed gratitude with his lips, but now, at this moment, it just didn't seem enough. There had to be something tangible he could do to show the God Most High how grateful he truly was. Abram had seen various forms of sacrifice in his homeland of Ur and later in Haran and in the cultures of Canaan and Egypt. In the past, he had not known what to do to worship his God other than pray and give him his obedience. But now, perhaps he could borrow a gesture and hope that it was found to be worthy of worship in the eyes of his God.
"High Priest, righteous Melchizedek, I am moved by your words and in awe of our God. I have long felt his guidance and seen his protection and provision time and time again. Thank you for this reminder of our God's overwhelming generosity. I wish to honor our God through a tithe. Since our God gave me all I possess, I would return a portion to him. Tell me, will he find it to be a worthy sacrifice?"
"I believe he would."
"Will you help me do this? I would impart my tithe into your hands."
"Yes, Abram. I will accept this gift on behalf of God Most High."
Melchizedek and Abram walked along the hillside together. Abram was cautious not to ask too many questions. Melchizedek seemed almost like a vapor to him. If he grasped too firmly at him, he would disappear. Melchizedek remained for the rest of the day. As the sun set and the fires burned to cut the cold, Abram could tell that his companions were growing wary of the king of Salem. They certainly appreciated what he had said and represented, but Abram could also surmise they didn't fully understand. Melchizedek arranged for servants from his priesthood to come and accept the tithe, and he and Abram spoke together until late in the day when he finally had to depart for his city and his evening meal.
"Will you stay a little longer?"
"I'm afraid not. The moon and sun must continue their churning, though I wish they would stop so we could have more time. Perhaps one day they will."
Melchizedek departed alone through the valley toward the city of Salem. As the pale moon's beam fell behind a few clouds, Abram found himself wondering if they would ever cross paths again. The next morning, the euphoria of meeting Melchizedek was cut with business. Abram, Lot, Mamre, Eshcol, Anna, and a portion of their armed men went to the agreed-upon location to see what the king of Sodom had to say. They walked on foot to an ebony tree. Its trunk was dark, as if it had been dipped in iron. Waiting in its shadow, sitting atop his horse with a procession of foot soldiers and aides beside him, was King Bera. The king of Sodom wore a dark robe with crimson threads woven into an image of a three-headed serpent. Even from a distance, Abram could tell that he didn't like this man. If even half the stories coming out of Sodom were true, King Bera was a man of extraordinary wickedness. The king bore his teeth in a smile, his voice higher than expected for a man of his stature.
Ah, the savvy Abram of the Hebrews. We meet at last.
Abram the Hebrew, Your Highness.
Yes, the Hebrew. I have been most anxious to meet you, though it seems you do not share that same sentiment. But here we are, in the location you selected, and with an understanding of the number of men I brought as an escort.
King Bera, I'm sure a man like yourself would understand our vigilance.
A man such as myself?
A man who knows what it's like to be caught off guard.
Abram, I will give you this. You and your Amorite allies certainly know how to make an impression. One can only hope they won't remain your only allies.
Abram had anticipated this. King Bera's compliance with their demands was a sure sign that he wanted something from Abram. He just had to wait to hear what that something would be.
I have come to make Abram a generous offer. As you guessed in your meeting with my emissary yesterday, we are aware that you now possess all that is plundered from my city, as well as all our people who were taken.
Abram.
Do not fear, Abram. Call off your Amorite guard dogs. I told you I had come to make a generous offer. I see you have all our possessions and people, but I would allow you to keep all the possessions. Call it an act of gratitude, goodwill even, for destroying our enemies and avenging our city.
Abram smiled. There it was. This was what the king wanted. Giving up the possessions he lost in a raid to gain a friend, to curry favor with Abram and the Amorites. King Bera was looking to own Abram through this gift.
We weren't avenging your city. We destroyed your enemies while rescuing one of your people. Your Highness.
So you've come for your people, Your Highness? But would you take back the very people we went to war to rescue?
Your Highness, you would capture Lot and his family again?
Aner, my friends, surely the king views Lot as his own man. And surely the king would allow him to return to his lands, should that be what Lot desires. What say you to that, King Bera?
It is as you say, Abram. I would gladly allow Lot and his family to come back, and I would give you all of my possessions. All that in hopes that we may become friends.
Your possessions that we liberated and rightfully earned in battle?
Eshcol, please. This is a most generous offer, Your Highness. One I'm sure my uncle will accept, and I would be most honored to return to Sodom at your invitation.
Your Highness, you do extend quite the gesture of friendship to us. I will gladly see your people safely back with you. As for your possessions, you can keep them as well.
Lot and the others gaped at him, but, feeling confident in his decision, Abram continued.
As my friends know, I have devoted my life to the God Most High. All I have is His, and all I do is in His name. My victories are His, and not my own. So it is to Him that you should be grateful, and not me. My possessions are the same. Everything I own is His. I'm not a self-made man. Therefore, I have little taste for ambitious friendships. And I would not take even a thread or sandal strap or anything that belongs to you. I see the invisible strings attached to them. I will sever them now and give you what is yours. I will not allow you or anyone to say I made Abram rich. I cannot be owned because I am already under the lordship of another.
To this, no one gathered had anything to say. Abram could tell Lot was nettled at the loss of the massive fortune, but held his tongue. Mamre and his brothers were similarly dumbfounded, but could appreciate Abram's conviction.
I will take nothing save what the men and women have eaten in our travels. I will take nothing. But as for the share that would go to my Amorite friends...
He had Mamre, Eshcol, and Anna's attention now.
They should not be deprived of what you offered. They should take their portion of your possessions. They had as much a part of the rescue as I did, and should be rewarded. And since you have extended an invitation to return to Lot out of the kindness of your heart, you will swear to protect him and his family as they travel with you back to Sodom. And you will show him kindness and allow him to dwell safely in your lands, since you are a gracious and good-willed friend.
King Bera smiled through gritted teeth. Abram knew this gesture would leave him outside the good graces of Bera, but he didn't care. The king of Sodom now had to give up his possessions to 3 Amorite lords.
Very well, Abram. I will agree to escort Lot back to Sodom. As for the possessions, I will take back your portion and leave the rest to these Amorites.
Thank you, Your Majesty. I will tell stories of your kindness.
Save your stories. Lot will be the only friend you have in Sodom.
King Bera and his men prepared to escort their people back to Sodom. Abram's readied for the final leg of their journey home. As they worked, Abram found his thoughts returning to his strange encounter with Melchizedek. The blessing spoken over him gave words to what Abram had felt inside. A steady joy came upon Abram. It felt like courage, resolve. Abram was pleased to know that he had done right by his God, and that his reward would be something akin to a legacy, enduring and everlasting, just as the God Most High had promised him.
The Pope is dead.
From Focus Features comes the electrifying new film, Conclave.
We're about to choose the most famous man in the world.
Based on the international best-selling thriller.
The Pope discovered something before he died.
Rafe Fiennes, Stanley Tucci.
Ambition becomes corruption.
John Lithgow and Isabella Rossellini.
We sisters have eyes and ears.
Top critics are raving. Conclave is hands down the best picture of the year.
I had to find the truth.
Conclave, rated PG. Parental guidance suggested. Only in theaters this Friday.
Attention parents and grandparents. Are you searching for the perfect gift for your kids this holiday season? Give the gift of adventure that will last all year long. A Guardian bike. The easiest, safest, and quickest bikes for kids to learn on. Kids are learning to ride in just one day. No training wheels needed. What sets Guardian bikes apart? Designed especially for stability, they're low to the ground with a wide wheelbase and ultra-lightweight frames, offering superior control and balance. This design gives young riders the ability to learn in just one day without tears or frustration. Guardian bikes are the only kids' bikes designed and assembled in a USA factory, ensuring top-notch quality and durability. They were also featured on Shark Tank and are the New York Times Wirecutter Top Kids Bike Pick for 2024. Join the hundreds of thousands of happy families by getting a Guardian bike today. Their holiday season sales have begun, offering the biggest deal of the year. Save up to 25% on bikes. No code needed. Plus, get free shipping and a free bike lock and pump with your first purchase after signing up for their newsletter. Visit GuardianBikes.com to take advantage of these deals and secure your holiday season gifts today. Happy riding!
Wow. What is this place?
Welcome to Cloud 9.
How exactly did I get here?
You're a Toyota Crown driver, and only Crown drivers ever reach this level of pure bliss. The refined but elegant design makes you sit up a little straighter. It gives you a rush of confidence as soon as you're behind the wheel and a feeling of all eyes on you. That's how the Crown transports you here. It's pretty awesome, right?
The captivating Toyota Crown family. Toyota, let's go places.
Abram, our father, fresh from the battle, meets a figure shrouded in mystery, Melchizedek, the priest king of Salem. In this brief meeting, Melchizedek blesses Abram, and Abram gives the king a tenth of all he owns. Let's take a look at Melchizedek, this priest king whose higher authority Abram recognizes with a tithe. A king rules with authority, with power, with justice. A king commands armies, establishes laws, and ensures order. A king's word is final. But a priest is a mediator, a servant who stands in the gap between the human and the divine. A priest offers sacrifices, prays on behalf of the people, and seeks to reconcile them with God. If we look at Melchizedek, this mysterious priest king, as a representative of God, we can make some conclusions about God's very character. As a king, God establishes his sovereignty and justice over all of creation. As a priest, he extends mercy, compassion, and reconciliation. This dual role of Melchizedek hints at a God who is not distant nor detached, but is actively involved in the lives of his people. And he holds paradox. He's not limited like man, but he's expansive in order to give us all the tools and inspiration that we need in every area of our life. You see, from Melchizedek, we see that God is both powerful and present, that God rules with justice, but also seeks relationship and restoration. But God also bridges the gap between the holy and the human, the majestic, the divine, and the mundane. God takes on the priestly role, committed not just to govern humanity, but to heal, not just to command his people, but to commune with them. The idea of God as both a king and a priest paints us a picture of a God who is both above us and with us. It's an oxymoron, but it's exactly the character of God, don't you think? So when we read of Abram's encounter with Melchizedek, we get a glimpse of God's grand narrative, where his sovereignty and his desire for an intimate relationship with his creation, with each one of us, comes together. In this story, we get a rare glimpse of God. Now, for some Hebrew insights, let's take a look at this mysterious biblical figure's name. It's very telling. Melchizedek, king of Salem. Most Jewish commentaries say that Salem was the original name of Jerusalem. In Hebrew, you say Salem as Shalem, which means whole or complete. But does it sound like another Hebrew word that you know? Doesn't the Hebrew word of shalem sounds a lot like the Hebrew word of shalom, which means peace, and according to Jewish tradition is actually one of the names of God. But whatever God's reason for this mysterious scene with this mysterious man and this mysterious meeting, this is an important moment because it's the Bible's first mention of the holy city of Jerusalem. And the great Jewish teacher, Nachmanides, makes another connection between Jerusalem and Melchizedek. The first half of Melchizedek's name is Melech, which in Hebrew means king. But Nachmanides notes that the second half of the king's name is Tzedek, which is Hebrew for righteousness. He then quotes another Jewish teaching that says that Jerusalem itself is called Tzedek because it inspires its inhabitants to be righteous. And so this story about a mysterious king with such a meaningful name at last introduces Jerusalem. Nachmanides writes that, and I quote, "Perhaps Abram and Melchizedek knew of the extreme importance of this place, Jerusalem, for future history, a city where heaven and earth come together." That is beautiful. And I think of it often when I walk the beautiful streets of Jerusalem. And I think of it often when I walk the ancient yet modern streets of Jerusalem here in the Holy Land with my husband and children. When I walk those cobblestone stones of Jerusalem, I feel enveloped in spirituality. Somehow the city itself makes me want to do more good, to bring more help to the people who need it, and to rededicate myself to exactly that kind of work that we do at the fellowship, the ministry that I lead. I really hope that through these podcasts and through the wonderful and dramatic stories from the Bible that they tell, I can help you feel what I feel here in Jerusalem, a deep, personal, inspiring connection with God. And it was in Jerusalem, in the city of righteousness, that this Bible story of Melchizedek, the king of righteousness, took place, giving us a glimpse at the true nature of what righteousness is. The Christian Bible also has much to say about this mysterious character and what he represents to people of faith. To speak more about this is our good friend, Bishop Paul Lanier.
Thank you so much, Yael. I'm so excited to press into this Genesis chapter 14. Well, you know Lot has chosen to live with his family and all his stuff in Sodom. What he didn't know was that there were 5 kings from other regions who were looking on and created a conspiracy determined to invade that space, to kidnap Lot and his family, and to confiscate all the wealth. Didn't turn out the way Lot was thinking. But thankfully, there was somebody, somehow or another, that was able to escape the attack and to rush to Abraham and to tell him everything that was going on. Well, immediately, the Bible says that Abraham put together a posse of 318 marksmen. These weren't simply volunteers or folk with a good heart. These were absolutely the best warriors and soldiers that you could find anywhere. And didn't take them long with 318 marksmen to overtake those 5 kings and to rescue Abraham's family of Lot and to redeem their blessing. Now, it wouldn't surprise you when I say to you that as Abraham and the posse and Lot and the blessing are in view, that the king of Sodom was thrilled. He was euphoric to see that no one had died and all was well. And he rushed to Abraham and said to him good words. We just talked about honor recently, and this is an honoring moment. He says to Abraham, I'm so grateful for all you've done. Please, let me now prosper you and bless you for your successes. But Abraham said, oh, no. Listen, I need you to understand something, sir. I am a portal man. I live in a portal place at a portal point in time, and the blessing of God is upon my life. Every good and perfect gift that's belonging to me comes to me from his hand. And so I'm not taking anything from you, lest one day somebody look and say, that Abraham's a blessed man, and you step in and say, well, you should have seen him when I found him. I'm the one that... No. Only my God is blessing me. When Abraham returned, there was this mysterious man standing there who has intrigued us and so many others for generations. I'm just going to speak to the obvious about him. His name was Melchizedek, and he was from Jerusalem. Matter of fact, this is the only time throughout the whole Torah that you find the name Jerusalem. Remarkably, he is a king and a priest, and he's holding both wine and bread. Now, I need to step in here and speak specifically to my Christian brothers and sisters, those who believe that Jesus of Nazareth is actually Jesus the Christ, the Messiah, Moshiach. I'm talking to you. This image of Melchizedek, who is a king and a priest and he's holding wine and bread. That is so familiar to us, isn't it? For us, we see Jesus. We would call this a theophany. This is when you can actually find the Son of God from the New Testament. You can find the Son of God that we're familiar with in the Old Testament. Wow, that's incredible. What I want to speak to you right now is I don't know what's come against your family, tried to steal you, tear you apart, destroy every good thing in your life. But I declared unto everyone under the sound of my voice that God loves you, and he holds that bread and that wine, and we'll see it again later when we get to the Passover. Continuously, the table of the Lord is so significant. Covenant meals, meal moments are so profoundly important to us. And I'm just praying now for the blessing of God upon you, sir, upon you, ma'am, and that God will bless your families and sustain you, and that you never forget it is God and God alone who is the author and finisher of your faith and your blessing.
Our story ends with Abram declining an offer from the king of Sodom. Abram was offered his deserved riches, but suddenly material wealth didn't matter to him at all. Because after his encounter with Melchizedek, Abram saw life through a different lens. Abram was secure in who he was. He was created by God. He was sustained by God. And he was chosen by God. Just like Abram, my friends, you too are chosen by God. You are called by God for something great. In our next episode, Abram is going to speak with God, and God's promises are going to become much more clear. They're going to be etched into the stars. Here's a final blessing and benediction for you, one that has been passed down from the Bible in Numbers all the way to my father and countless generations before him, that I now bless and pray on my children, and I want to pray on you. Yivarechecha Hashem v'yishmerecha, Yair Hashem panav elecha v'chunecha, Yisa Hashem panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May the Lord bless and keep you. May the Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord turn his face towards you and give you peace. Shalom, my friends, from here in the Holy Land.
You can listen to The Chosen People with Yael Eckstein ad-free by downloading and subscribing to the pray.com app today. This pray.com production is only made possible by our dedicated team of creative talents. Steve Katina, Max Bard, Zach Schellebarger, and Ben Gammon are the executive producers of The Chosen People with Yael Eckstein, edited by Alberto Avila, narrated by Paul Coltofianu. Characters are voiced by Jonathan Cotton, Aaron Salvato, Sarah Seltz, Mike Reagan, Stephen Ringwald, Sylvia Zaradoc, and the opening prayer is voiced by John Moore. Music by Andrew Morgan Smith, written by Bree Roseley and Aaron Salvato. Special thanks to Bishop Paul Lanier, Caleb Burrows, Jocelyn Fuller, and the team at International Fellowship of Christians and Jews. You can hear more Pray.com productions on the Pray.com app, available on the Apple App Store and Google Play Store. If you enjoyed The Chosen People with Yael Eckstein, please rate and leave a review.
1 in 3 women and 1 in 4 men experience domestic abuse in their lifetime, and nearly half of survivors delay leaving because they can't bring their pets with them. Purina started the Purple Leash Project to help eliminate one of the many barriers domestic abuse survivors face: a lack of pet-friendly domestic violence shelters. Through the Purple Leash Project, Purina is helping to create more pet-friendly domestic violence shelters across the country, so abuse survivors and their pets can escape and heal together. Visit Purina.com/purple to get involved.
Need to shake up mealtime? Gorton Seafood has you covered with the most satisfying and convenient crunch this side of the freezer aisle. Bite into the golden crunch of their popcorn, butterfly, and southern-style shrimp. Or mix up any main course from tacos to salads with their irresistibly crispy beer-battered fillets and classic fish sticks. When it comes to easy prep, restaurant-quality flavor without the hefty price tag, nothing beats the fresh-tasting seafood Gorton's has brought to the table for 175 years. Visit Gortons.com to learn more.
The iHeartRadio Music Festival was a blast, and Hyundai's EV lineup was there for every moment. In Vegas, Hyundai took VIPs to the Speedway to test drive the 601-horsepower Ioniq 5N. On Friday, the EV Sessions winner was announced, Hyundai's music contest on TikTok. The twist? Their performances were all powered by the all-electric Hyundai Ioniq 5. How cool is that? And after the show, fans got to check out the Hyundai dance floor at House of Music. Thanks again to Hyundai's amazing EV lineup. Learn more at HyundaiUSA.com or call 562-314-4603.